it's going to be a very enriching session. I would suggest that the participants who are here, especially founders who have a technology driven startup, if they can also take notes from this particular session, then I think it will be very useful for everyone. I will introduce Piyush sir quickly, and then I will set a brief context to this particular knowledge session which we have organized. I would also like to thank the partners for this workshop. Government of UP Starting UP program, which is supporting the aid center of excellence, which is set up in Noida with IIT Kanpur and FICCI through the support of government of UP. So I wish to thank them for helping us organize this particular knowledge session. I would also like to thank Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to support this particular knowledge session for the joint initiative between the ministry and the incubator at IIT Kanpur, which is called the Startup Gateway for Garbage Free Cities. So we have founders from both the initiatives with us, from the sector of waste to wealth and from the sector of artificial intelligence. So I'll introduce Piyush ji, although he requires no introduction as such, because everyone in the ecosystem is well aware now about his proficiency with the financial ecosystem of startups. He has been working in the finance departments of various PSUs and MNCs. He has an experience of over 28 years in the financial sector. He has been associated with the JV of IOCL Green Gas Limited. He has been the CFO there. He has also been the general manager, finance controller for SAB Miller India Limited. And he has been the country finance controller for SBC Beverage Ghana Limited. So, sir, thank you so much for giving your time. Also, I would like to set up a brief context. As some of you might be aware that at SIIC, we have recently initiated and have started focusing upon our efforts to get investments for our startups. And we have started an investments vertical in the incubator, wherein we are leveraging our relationships with various VC funds and angel investors to bring in investments for our startups. And during the pitching sessions and while vetting internally our startups, we have realized that, being technology based founders, due to their lack of knowledge or lack of interest in the accounts, sometimes what happens is that there are some gaps in the way the financials are projected by the founders in their book of accounts, and sometimes there are some discrepancies which occur out of the way the books of accounts are maintained. So we decided that we will do this knowledge session with Piyush sir, and without taking much time, I would request Piyush sir to kindly initiate, and then this will be an interactive kind of a session between me and Piyush sir, and I'll be asking some questions also, based upon which Piyush sir will enrich us all with his experience and knowledge on the subject matter. So over to Piyush sir.
So, good morning, all. And first of all, I would like to thank Ankit for arranging this session. I believe this is much needed. We used to discuss and why this session required, you have rightly said. And again, I will just repeat. Remember, when we were seeing financials, we are finding something different. When we are interacting with the specific startup founders and all, we are finding various other scenario of that entire operation, that entire company. So we thought, let's have this session so that financial should speak what founder want to speak. Because nowadays, what is happening, that books of accounts and annual report is a janam patri of any of the financial organization. It's a document which is giving a health, which is reflecting health of the organization for all external holders, be it investors, be it vendors, be it employees, everybody. So that's why our financial should be in such a manner that external stakeholders should read and he should understand what is exactly happening in the organization. So first of all, I like to mention that nowadays accounting is not an annual affair. आज की डेट में accounting जो है वो ये नहीं कि साल के आखिरी में books बनाया उसका compliance कर लिया. That is not the scenario now. Accounting is integral part of business for that to day decision making. पहले क्या होता था जो transaction processing है that was major part of accounting function. Then छोटा सा reporting होता था, decision making सबसे छोटा होता. Now scenario got changed. Transaction processing is almost automated nowadays. So uska very small pie is there. Financial reporting is a big portion, and decision making without finance, you cannot even think of any decision, and you should not even think of also. All decisions should be backed by any financial number, then only decision can be fruitful for the organization. So if I say that entire operation of any of the organization, that is divided into three parts. One is production, one is revenue, and one is other operation costs. So through books of account, we can leverage that what books of account can be leveraged to understand what is the correct standard under which manufacturing operation should operate. Then there has to be additional opportunities. We can find out additional opportunities. हम कहाँ पे अपनी से negative variances जो आ रहे हैं जो हमारे standard के beyond उसको हम किस तरह से कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. प्लस जहाँ पे पॉजिटिव वेरिएंस आ रहे हैं वो हम फर्दर बेंचमार्क करके उसको करेक्ट कर सकते हैं कि whether that positive variance is notional or we have to correct our standard. Similarly, we can benchmark our operation, manufacturing operation with other competitors and other similar kind of operations. So these are now possible on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So we will discuss in length in further discussions. So in brief, I just wanted to mention that cost line is very important and cost line analysis is very important. Then second part is revenue, because जो हम बेच रहे हैं वही बिजनेस है, बना के रखना इज नॉट द बिजनेस. तो सबसे पहले जो आज की डेट में फाइनेंशियल्स है उसमें क्या उसका एनपीआर है, क्या उसका डिस्काउंट है, क्या उसका कंज्यूमर प्राइस है और क्या उसका करेक्ट कंज्यूमर प्राइस है, क्या उसका डिस्काउंटिंग मैकेनिज्म है, क्या उसका प्राइस वो प्रोडक्ट मिक्स है. ऑल कैन बी एनालाइज्ड ऑन अ रियल टाइम बेसिस through books of accounts, through financials only.
Sir, I just wanted to ask one question. So what we have done is that we have accumulated some questions from the startups and from our own end and based on our interactions with the startups during pitching sessions. So, sir, one of the questions which I would like you to help us with is that we have seen cases in which company has multiple product lines, right? And there are some good sales coming out of few of the products, right? However, the book of accounts shows an increase in losses, right? Now, this is not projected correctly, and sometimes this reflects negatively on the company. Yes. So how can this be handled so that so that for all the stakeholders of the startup, this can be managed by the founder?
Yes. So Ankit, this is very important, and I believe this everybody should understand that when a startup is running a business or establishing a business, then they will continuously add, they will continuously innovate, and it is not necessary that first year operation will exactly similar with next year operation. And we have seen cases, as you rightly mentioned, we have seen cases that if one company is having multiple प्रोडक्ट लाइन से, एक कंपनी के पास 5-6 प्रोडक्ट लाइंस हैं एंड उसमें से देयर आर टाइमिंग डिफरेंस, कुछ कंटिन्यूअसली एस्टेब्लिश्ड है, कुछ नए प्रोडक्ट लाइन ऐड हो रहे हैं. तो व्हाट वी हैव सीन दैट ओवरऑल उसमें लॉस दिख रहा है, बट रियलिटी वी हैव सीन कि उसमें से 5 में से 4 प्रोडक्ट में ही इज मेकिंग गुड प्रॉफिट, एंड उस प्रॉफिट को वो 5वें प्रोडक्ट में डाल के इनिशियल इनोवेशन प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट कॉस्ट में डाल के उसको एक्सपेंस ऑफ कर रहा है. So there are two ways of handling this. Either we can, because this is a defined process, we can call it as product development, NPD, new product development cost, or we can amortize over the period. 4 to 5 years we can easily amortize. But if sometime accountants or chartered accountants say no, we wanted to expense of everything in first year, then that is okay, not an issue. To maintain tax planning and all, they can do that. But the thing is, whenever they are preparing financials, I would suggest in their annual report, they should do product costing, product profitability analysis. They should reflect in their financials, and they should understand product-wise profitability every month, every quarter, every year, so that they can understand which product is making profit, which product is making loss. I can show one example of product profitability. Just a second. This is so you see, यहाँ पे क्या है कि एक प्रोडक्ट P1 और P2 दो प्रोडक्ट है, उसमें 3 पैक साइज है. तो व्हाट दिस पर्सन डिड कि उन्होंने पैक साइज वाइज, प्रोडक्ट वाइज, पैक साइज वाइज प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी निकाला है. एंड इफ पॉसिबल दैट शुड रिफ्लेक्ट इन द एनुअल रिपोर्ट आल्सो. एंड आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट एवरीबॉडी दैट दे शुड स्टडी. अगर उसको सिर्फ एक कंपनी का स्टडी करनी है एनुअल रिपोर्ट, तो हिंदुस्तान लीवर की एनुअल रिपोर्ट जरूर स्टडी करें, उसको पढ़े जरूर. उसमें किस तरह से प्रेजेंट करते हैं वो, दैट everybody should know that. उसमें product wise profitability, brand wise, pack wise, market wise, everything they are studying. So initially that may not required, but at least product wise is definitely required, and that should reflect in the annual report also, so that ki whenever external stakeholder is coming, they can understand ki yes, they are making profit, and they should compute actualized profits, also normalized profit, ki if this is abnormal cost, this is R&D cost, if we exclude, we are at this much of profit. So all those things need to be analyzed and need to reflect in financials.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, so
Well
I believe I am clear, and if anybody is having any question, they can write it in the chat box.
Yeah, I would request all the attendees to kindly note down the pointers, and also if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box or a Q&A section. And at the end of the webinar, we will take up all the questions. Sir, just in extension to this discussion, I wanted to put in the next question, which is, how can founders identify and mitigate any bottlenecks or inefficiencies in the production process to ensure timely delivery of products and services? Now, this problem we have seen with our startups, because sometimes it can be because of the inflow of cash funds would be delayed. Sometimes there could be some external issues which can hamper the timely delivery of products and services. But how can this be mitigated?
Ankit, I believe everybody is aware that we are maintaining books of account on accrual basis, means matching concept पे. आज हमारा पैसा आएगा assume करके, positively assume करके, we will assume that receivable book, जितना sales आया immediately cash आया नहीं आया, but we account for in our books account as receivable. But we have seen cases, and these are frequently we have seen that company is making good profit in books of account, but still every time they are coming to us, they are going to banks to give short-term loan because they are not able to manage cash in this. So important is that all companies, जो भी सारी companies हैं, वो उनको कैश फ्लो जो है, उनको प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी के साथ साथ कैश फ्लो बहुत जरूरी है. कैश फ्लो इज इवन इम्पोर्टेंट देन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. अगर जेब में पैसे नहीं होंगे तो फ्यूचर मनी के बेसिस पे बिजनेस नहीं हो पाएगा. सो व्हाट दे शुड डू कि जो उनका पैसा है, तो दैट शुड नॉट ब्लॉक इन रिसीवेबल, दैट शुड नॉट ब्लॉक इन इन्वेंट्री. सो उनको इन्वेंट्री का क्या लेवल मेंटेन करना है वो पता होना चाहिए. निगोशिएशन किस तरह से करना है कि जो हमारा, जिससे हमारा 60 डेज में पैसा आता है या गवर्नमेंट से 90 डेज में पैसा आता है, तो हमें जो वेंडर को पेमेंट करना, जो पेबल है हमारा, वो भी उसी से सिंक होना चाहिए कि अगर हमें लेट पैसा मिल रहा है तो वही साइकिल रिसीवेबल से और पेबल की साइकिल ऑलमोस्ट मैच करके हमें चलना चाहिए। दूसरा क्या है कि जो हम जब अपने फाइनेंशियल्स बनाए तो उसमें कभी वी हैव सीन कि कुछ के पास गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर होते हैं, एंड गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर का जनरली से अगर 90 डेज टर्म है तो हो सकता है 120 दिन में मिले पैसे। तो देन अवर जो डेटर्स एजिंग है शुड रिफ्लेक्ट अकॉर्डिंगली कि 90 डेज प्लस 30 डेज एज पर योर इंटरनल पॉलिसी, उतना जो पीरियड है दैट इज नॉट ड्यू कैटेगरी। फिर ड्यू कैटेगरी और नॉट ड्यू कैटेगरी शुड रिफ्लेक्टेड डिफरेंटली सो दैट पता चलेगा जो एक्सटर्नल स्टेक होल्डर को पहली बार कि इनका पैसा कहाँ पे फंसा है। दूसरा, वी शुड ट्राई लेस क्रेडिट सेल जहां इफ पॉसिबल। तो क्रेडिट सेल के बिना तो बिजनेस हो नहीं पाएगा, बट क्रेडिट सेल जहां तक संभव हो सके हमें कम करना चाहिए। कैश सेल पे काम करें, भले ही थोड़ा सा मार्जिन पे कंप्रोमाइज करना पड़े, बट कैश इन हैंड इज ऑलवेज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द बिजनेस। सो वी हैव टू टेक केयर in our decision making for day to day thing. And cash flow, I am reflecting one cash flow summary. This we should, it's not necessary that detailed cash flow, but summary should be a bible for all for founders. उनको वीकली मंथली कैश फ्लो तो स्टडी करना ही चाहिए। अपने अकाउंटेंट को बोलिए, अपने चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को बोलिए, हमें कैश फ्लो मंथली जरूर बना दो। प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी स्टेटमेंट से ज्यादा जरूरी है कैश फ्लो कि हमें कहाँ पे शॉर्टफॉल आ रहा है, हम उसको कैसे मिटिगेट कर सकते हैं।
Okay, sir. So we have started receiving questions also. So I would again remind the attendees to put in their questions in the Q&A section of the link. Sir, the next question that I wanted to ask was, it's a generic kind of a question that what are the key parameters which founders can track to ensure that how their day-to-day operations are working. And I will just also extend this question a bit, that how they can better analyze which product line or which vertical or which man force or manager is performing well. So what are those key parameters which can be derived from the book of accounts just by studying the book of accounts?
So again, I believe this is also very relevant and important for all the founders. So the thing is, first of all, each business is unique and each business is having different KPIs. But still there are few KPIs which may be common for all. So first of all, we can study what is our, first of all, each of the organization should define their dashboard. What is the dashboard which they wanted to see on a monthly, weekly, quarterly basis, and that should be religiously followed. And that should come out of books of accounts. And because when it will come out of books of account, then authenticity will always be better. So if I'll say dashboard, so dashboard may have few common KPIs, which few can be derived as per like global KPIs or other utility related KPIs, but few common KPIs mean what is the volume, means weekly, quarterly volume, then net selling price per case, then gross profit trend, what is the gross profit trend. This we can define on a product wise basis, what is the gross profit trend per product. Then EBITDA percentage, then EBIT, net profit. These are the key KPIs. Then important is if company is taking loan, so then what is the interest cover ratio, means what is the profit against which interest can be taken care. Similarly, what is the current ratio and what is the quick ratio. Current ratio is nothing but current asset divided by current liability, and quick ratio is quick asset divided by current liability excluding inventory. Similarly, whenever we are investing in asset, so what is the return on capital employed? That also need to be always taken care. Means कि हम कितना पैसा लगा रहे हैं उससे रिटर्न कितना आ रहा है. तो कभी भी हम कैपेक्स अप्रूव करते टाइम जो उसका ROI जरूर कुछ कैपेक्स विल बी ऑन फॉर कंप्लायंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, मीन्स एनवायरमेंट रिलेटेड पोल्यूशन की एक्सपेक्टेड ZLD लगाना है, या जीरो लिक्विड डिस्चार्ज लगाना है या एयर पोल्यूशन का बैक फिल्टर्स लगाने हैं, वो तो कंप्लायंस के लिए होगा, बट एट द सेम टाइम वो भी कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ बिजनेस के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है। तो जब भी हम कैपेक्स डिसीजन करें तो उसमें वो केपीआईज का ध्यान रखें। दूसरा, material price variance, material usage variance, these are the basic KPIs which each of the founder need to understand. Then only they can track their operation, then they can track their sales.
Okay. Sir, next question is related to booking of expenses in P&L, especially the companies which are looking to raise funds in this time period. Their past performance has been, under the COVID wave, right? So their businesses had maybe started or but were definitely affected by COVID wave. So how can those expenses, because there are a lot of inconsistencies in booking expenses. So how can that be represented well, so that the accounts, the book of accounts are better communicative, and also if there can be some mechanisms or tools through which they can identify that how their expenditure, whether that is bringing in effectiveness or not. So if somebody is running a marketing campaign in a particular way and making expenses those side, then how can that be optimized?
Very relevant question, Ankit. The thing is that it is that, as I mentioned earlier, it is not necessary that all years are exactly same. COVID year is definitely different. So first of all, what we should do, we should always do variance analysis. Like and variance analysis, waterfall, these are the important tool which all should know, that what is the waterfall, what is the pie chart analysis, and which that should reflect in books of account. Like if we have to study profitability analysis of last year versus this year, so where we have lost, maybe because of plant breakdown. Like I'll give one example in front, कि अगर plant breakdown की वजह से हुआ या lack of material की वजह से हुआ या excess material था जो आपने कोविड के टाइम पे फोरकास्ट रॉन्ग फोरकास्ट कर लिया, जो कि अभी आपको एक्सपेंस ऑफ करना पड़ा, जिसकी अभी नीड नहीं है, या वो प्रोडक्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट खत्म हो गई, तो दैट वो आपको एक्सपेंस ऑफ करना है. So these are the abnormalities. So that should exactly come out of in your various analysis, and a person should know why their profit is increasing or decreasing. Secondly, if I talk about marketing expenses, so marketing ke liye we should always do marketing expenses vis-a-vis what is the outcome of whatever we are spending towards marketing expenses. So if we have spent say X amount in any campaign, so what is the outcome, जो उसमें pre and post उसका sales analysis या हम उसको करके देख सकते हैं कि इसमें से कितना market increase हुआ. Plus whenever we are defining marketing strategy, we should know whether we are trying to do push strategy or pull strategy. So accordingly पुश स्ट्रेटजी है तो उसका डिफरेंट होगा, थॉट प्रोसेस पुल स्ट्रेटजी है तो उसका थॉट प्रोसेस डिफरेंट होगा. लेट मी शो यू कि हाउ वी आर कंप्यूटिंग पुश एंड पुल स्ट्रेटजी. सो मे बी आई विल फाइंड आउट एंड शेयर. सो अकॉर्डिंगली जो ब्रांड पैक का प्रॉफिट लॉस, ब्रांड वाइज, पैक वाइज, मार्केट वाइज प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट also we should prepare, and that is not so complex. As soon as you know per product cost, easily you can prepare and you can ask your chartered accountant that I need profitability like this, and that you will get. And if there is any abnormality which is not consistent, which will definitely be addressed in future years, that should reflect in our annual accounts, in our annual report. And director's report should be so detailed and robust so that external stakeholders can read and understand that this director or this founder knows his business, and these are the abnormalities. If we exclude that, if we normalize that, then company is in continuous profit making mode.
Sir, the next question is pertains to the input materials. So how can we track actual usage of input materials vis-a-vis standard inputs quantity required for producing respective final products? Now, this has been a challenge we have seen in one of the best of our, even startups, that they are facing these kind of issues. So I would request if there can be any mechanism for getting better visibility of this issue.
Yes. So Ankit, that's what now this session is important. Like this standard costing is so well defined tool through which we can analyze material usage variance. Means first of all, whenever any, because generally, as you have already mentioned, most of our startup are tech-based startup, so they know what is the bill of material for their product. So they should define that bill of material in books of account also as a standard costing tool, and they should post actual against each line item, that if for and that is called product batch wise yeah, standard costing mechanism. So they should define their standard in books of account, and they should post actuals also against each and every product line. Then difference between actual usage and uh, standard uses can be analyzed, and that is called material usage variance. So that study is very much important, and if there may be positive variance, there may be negative variance. So that and variance analysis may have either controllable losses or uncontrollable variance. So that we should understand that these are the controllable variance. For that we can take action, and these are non-controllable variance. For that we need to further calibrate our standard costing. Similarly, if we are getting any positive variance, that we should not be very happy that every time that positive variance may not be actual organic positive. There may be some correction in bill of material also required. So this is a dynamic and continuous process. We should standardize our product like that, and based upon that, we should define our standards, and we should define budgetary profit and loss account based upon the standard, and actual profit and loss based upon the actual, and that should be analyzed. I would say that should not. That's why I'm saying we should not wait till year end that this is our now books of account to see. This should done on a weekly, monthly basis so that corrective actions can be taken well in time.
Okay. Sir, also on the supply side, I have a question that, once a startup scales up, right, they are out of the prototype stage, they have gone to the market, they have also done their pilot successfully. Now they have scaled up, maybe they have received seed funding also. Now the problem is in the maintaining the inventory of the startup, right? So we have seen that, sometimes there will be a surge in demand, right? Let's say during COVID wave, there was an increase in demand of masks, or in demands of, various equipments related to that particular era. So there will be an increase in inventory also. Now, what methods can be employed to better manage those kinds of situation, so that those are not negatively reflected later on in the books of accounts?
So Ankit, here I would say that inventory management is very important for any of the business. We should not block, first of all, our major working capital or major cash in inventory. So nowadays companies are in just in inventory module also. Means they have nowadays supply chain system is so robust that within even 24 all multinational, most of the multinationals you can see that they are even running their operation on just in kind of inventory. एक दिन दो दिन की इन्वेंट्री पे भी वो पूरा ऑपरेशन चलाने में कैपेबल हो रहा है, because they have so robust supply chain mechanism for that. Here I would say that we should define our inventory policy first of all. Then we should know what is the lead time for purchasing a material, what is the lead time for converting the material, and what is the lead time for dispatching it to the end user. So based upon that, we should define a inventory policy. Then we should follow a FIFO method. So say for a sudden surge in demand, if you have build up excessive inventory. First of all, sudden surge in demand should not be immediately reacted upon. There has to be thoughtful process if we are building up any inventory. But if we did that also, we should follow batch-wise finished goods product, and we should dispatch it on a FIFO basis. Similarly, for raw material, packing material also, we should follow a strong FIFO methods, and that should be so visible that operators, those who are working on ground, they can decide that this is the old material that they should use first. This is the new material that they should use second. So that shop floor, that inventory management floor, the store should be so robustly maintained, and all this inventory module should reflect in books of account also. So stock aging should be analyzed on a weekly, quarterly basis, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, so that founder should know this is the aging of their inventory, raw material, packing material, finished goods, and there may be seasonality also. There are multiple factors. Based upon that, each product need to be analyzed, and importantly, that all should reflect in books of account. There should not be timing difference between maintaining of inventory in books of account and real inventory. So physical inventory should always be vis-a-vis books of account.
Okay. Sir, so I think we have mostly covered all the points from the supply side, and from the demand side also we have covered major points. But just one last question which I wanted to project would be that how can we optimize pricing strategies? So what happens is that sometimes due to the novelty of the product, the founder might price their products at a very high margin, due to which the profitability will be very good, but the top line gets affected. And sometimes without doing competitive analysis, the pricing is lowered by the founders, due to which the top line grows, but the profitability gets affected in the long term of the business. So how can that be managed through the books of accounts and also projected well in the books of accounts, so that the investors or any other stakeholders can also better understand the computational ability of the founder in terms of devising profitability for the startup?
So Ankit, here I would say that pricing is key for any of the business. First of all, they should have a well-defined and dynamic pricing policy. Ki gross profit negative में there has to be penetration pricing. Whenever the pricing need to be decided, first of all, what is the market situation, competitor का price क्या है, अपना cost कितना आ रहा है, cost plus method है. Sometimes penetration price need to be taken care. Like if we are making profit in other product, if we have to introduce new product, we may go for penetration profit at a break even, or sometime even calculated negative loss also. So all these things, product wise profit, that's what I'm saying, pack wise, product wise, sourcing wise, profitability need to be computed, and based upon that, pricing need to be decided. So, and that all should be through books of account. There should not be separate database which is not in sync with books of account. So whatever pricing, there's a standard mechanism called cost center concept, revenue center concept, profit center concept. So that all should appear in books of accounts. So we should define these are our cost center, we should define these are our revenue center, we should define these are our profit center. And based upon that, our accounting should take place, and these reports should come out of your ERP or whatever. It's not necessary everybody should go for SAP, but there has to be a strong ERP, strong accounting tool, accounting package under which entire operation need to be captured, and that is important for taking decision on a real time dynamic basis. अभी आपने कोई प्राइस डिसाइड किया, सडनली कंपटीशन ने अपना प्राइस बदल दिया. You can take example of telecom, you can take example of Pepsi Coke, you can take example of, for that matter, any FMCG. तो वो कंपटीशन प्राइस का रेफरेंस रहता ही रहता है, सीजनैलिटी का इम्पैक्ट रहता है कि इस सीजन में प्राइस क्या आ रहा है, ऑफ सीजन में प्राइस क्या रहा. So all those seasonality, competition pricing, sourcing, brand, pack size, sachets के प्राइस देखा होगा कम होगा क्योंकि फास्ट मूविंग होता है. So all those things need to be well thought through, and there has to be a real time database. Based upon that, pricing need to be decided.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last question from my side, which is going to be a broad one. So we have seen that in any business, any business, not just a tech-driven business, even D2C or e-commerce or any kind of business, effectiveness and efficiency are to be balanced between, right? So how can founders use book of accounts or project their book of accounts correctly so that they can better allocate their resources and optimize their businesses for maximum derivation of their top line and bottom line?
So here again, I would say that we should go for a full-fledged cost center, profit center concept. Each brand should act as a revenue center. Each cost line should act as a cost center. So based upon that, product-wise, pack-wise, sourcing-wise, profitability need to be computed, and based upon that, team need to be rewarded. Based upon that, uh, decision need to be taken. Based upon that, sourcing need to be decided. Like if I give example of liquor industry, because I was in liquor industry for a longer period. So Karnataka and Maharashtra is one of the most profitable state. 60% of the profit of any of the organization will come from Karnataka and Maharashtra, these two states, and add on with the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana put together. So the thing is, then pricing strategy for that market should be different. Pricing strategy for Haryana should be different. So state location-wise pricing strategy, then location-wise resource allocation. And if you see, because of profitability, most of the companies, liquor beer companies, you will find in Bangalore only, because they want that entire resources should allocate in that region, because that is the maximum profit stage. Similarly, FMCG के लिए most of the companies, marketing company offices you will find in Delhi or NCR. So based upon the profitability region-wise, pack-wise, uh, we founders should understand, and founders should allocate resources as per the real-time available data, analyze the thing, and resources need to be allocated based upon that.
Sir, so I think questions from my side are well answered, and I hope that our attendees have also taken notes. We have also made this webinar live on YouTube. So later on, if somebody wishes to refer to the discussion here, they can log on to our YouTube channel and access the webinar from there. So Tushar, have we enabled the chat box and the Q&A section?
Yes, sir. I'm just doing it.
Okay. So we are just enabling the chat box. Meanwhile, we have a few questions. Sir, I think we have received a question from Mr. Santosh Kumar. He's asking how to show the financial projection for seed fund investment at pre-revenue stage after prototyping.
So I think यहाँ पे founder का skill is very much required. First of all, he should prepare his budget, his business plan in such a manner that after this thing, after successful prototyping, where he will land up, he is planning to land up. So seed fund, why he want that seed funding to reach out to where? So that he should well define, and that should reflect in his annual report. If 1 year, 1.5 year took to prepare books of account, then what is his goal? What is his business plan? Based upon that, he should prepare a projected business plan, and that should reflect in his annual report, so that investors can understand, investors can easily understand his thought process, and investors can accordingly be comfortable giving seed fund for reaching out to that goal.
Okay. Sir, we have another question from Mr. Dhanabal. Kumaraswamy. He is asking that could you suggest some ERP softwares that can be used by early stage startups?
So, yeah, SAP is definitely costly, but SAP ka there is a BI version. So BI version is at
Can
hello.
Tally generate the required reports?
Tally ERP is also very good. Tally ERP is also very good. But again, I would suggest that we should go for ERP solution. We should not go for just accounting packages. ERP solution means that will cover your cost center, that will cover your revenue center, that will cover your product costing, everything. Similarly, SAP का also BI module is there, which is similar to Tally, means Tally की costing पे ही आता है, and that is also very good. So initially we can use those ERPs, and after that we may, if we are comfortable, that we may go to SAP and all.
So I think we have answered all the questions we have received. Any other questions if we can get in the next 2-3 minutes, then yeah. So we have another question from Mr. Sanjay Chauhan. He's asking, could you also brief on financial compliances?
So
So this is a
compliances
very
can.
broad question also, but sir, if you can briefly take this up.
So the thing is, financial compliances are definitely if you are not a listed company, then you have to prepare books of account. Then you have to get it audited within before September, and before September get it adopted in books of in your board meeting, and then auditors then get it adopted in your board meeting, and all stakeholders. Then that can be filed with MCA. So these are the basic compliances. But the thing is, here we are talking about actual uses. Compliance is definitely one part, but the thing is, actual usage of books for decision making is important. And as I mentioned, that annual report may not be important. Only director's report is small as per the format you have to file as far as compliance is concerned. But if you prepare a proper detailed annual report with the director's thought process, with the director's report in detail, then that will become a document which external stakeholders can read, and they can understand where these founders trying to bring this company for future. So important is one part is compliance, but important what here we are trying to measure, that our books of accounts should be so robust, so detailed, that external stakeholders, whatever analysis you are doing, and first of all, we should do analysis, and that should reflect in your annual reports as well.
Sir, we don't have any more questions. Okay, we have received one now. Yeah, in our business model, we are so this question is from Charwag Dulani. He's asking that in our business model, we are supposed to pay a payment gateway charge, which is initially eating up the entire gross profit that we make. The settlements are done by the end of the month in terms of we getting our profits from the back end vendors, but we have to pay for credits beforehand. Can we apply for a working capital loan based on this?
Yes, you can apply. First of all, you have to represent your books in such a manner that this will reflect that this you whatever you are mentioning is nothing but a timing difference. कि आज आप पे करो, future में पैसे मिल जाएंगे आपको. So that should reflect accordingly in your books of account. So if you are positively reflect in your books of account, if working capital like banks and all can understand your model well, you can easily get loan. I don't think there will be any challenge in that.
Yeah, and also I would like to inform that we have various banking partners and we have MOUs with those banking partners. So if you have working capital requirements at your end, you can get in touch with your respective portfolio manager and your vertical head, and they can connect you with those banking partners. So we have likes of SBI, Yes Bank, HDFC, and ICICI who are our partners. So there is another question. What are the things we need to keep in mind
So Ankit, I believe you got tagged up. So let me answer this question. So here, if you are at prototype stage, then your profitability analysis, your waterfall of cost line is very much important, and that should reflect in your financials in your annual report. That so that there has to be recurring cost and there has to be one-time cost. So you have to prepare your profit and loss statement in two parts. One is real profit and loss. One is actualized profit and loss. One is real profit and loss. One is normalized profit and loss. Means if we normalize all those one-time kind of expenses as a product development expenses, where we are going to land up. So those all. So whenever we are at prototype stage, we should continuously talk about our future business plan whenever we are preparing our financials, whenever we are preparing our annual report. And we should be very, again, I am repeating that we should be very serious on preparing our annual report. Though that CA will say, because most, if we are at initial stage, we may not have full-time chartered accountant, we would have associated some of the part-time chartered accountants as a shared service kind of thing. But we can write that director's report so that they can frame it in a better form. Chartered accountant can frame it, but we should give our thought process, our future business plan in our financials positively, especially if we are in prototype stage. Otherwise, what is your thought process? How stakeholders will understand? They will understand when you will pitch your pitch deck for investment. But otherwise, for day-to-day business, if it reflects in annual report that and that will be audited by chartered accountant, then that will always have a positive weightage.
So, sir, I think we have covered all the questions which we have received. I would suggest that if someone has further questions or queries related to their own startup, then they can reach out to Piyush sir. He is quite accessible, and or they could reach out to their vertical heads at SIIC. They can connect you to Piyush sir and better help you. Sir, I want to thank you again for taking out time on a weekend and doing this, because this was very critical, especially based upon the kind of observations we had made in the past, in the recent past. So thank you, sir. I also want to thank our partners, Government of Uttar Pradesh, for supporting this webinar. Also, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Sir, any closing remarks from your side?
So Ankit, first of all, I am thankful to you कि ये आपने session arrange किया, and I think we should again repeat this kind of discussions, and we should take further queries in advance, and if possible वो one by one specific queries को भी address कर सकते हैं. But ये session हमें लग रहा है बहुत, मतलब ये thought, it's not session, everybody is knowledgeable. ये thought process important है, which should inculcate in our all our startup founders कि जो books of account है वो communicative होनी चाहिए, and that should be tool for taking your day-to-day decision. And उसको आप annual compliance tool ना मान के उनको उसको business tool मानिए. And अभी जो सारी successful companies हैं वो बिना this financial decision के financial I would say decision support के कोई decision नहीं लेते हैं, and we should not take any of the decision, and there has to be structured approach, and उसी के लिए हम लोगों को बार-बार ये session करके ये habit inculcate करने का जरूरत है. So thanks to everybody कि सबने time निकाला आज Saturday के दिन और इस session को attend किया. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, all the attendees. Also, we will keep continuing these kind of interactions based upon the observations we make. If there are any specific queries which you feel that can be resolved through POG's help, then he is always available. I would suggest that if there are any specific sessions which you wish for us to conduct, then you can feel free to reach out to me around investments if there are any gaps which you feel can be addressed. Also, I would like to mention that we have planned another session on Monday with Ms. Prachi Jain, who is the Chief Strategy Officer for Adnovate. Looking forward to a good participation there also. Again, the discussion is going to be around how to raise investments, specifically if you are a technopreneur. If you have a deep tech startup, then how you can, being an early stage deep tech startup, how you can raise investments and what kind of perspective you need to build up. So looking forward to having you all there also. And again, I would like to end this webinar by thanking Piyush sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks everybody. Bye bye.